My God, they're openly announcing world government now run by mega banks that took over through fraudulent paper. And the people that engage in the fraud are the ones being, the media says, are the heroes because they're owned by the same crooks. And then when we're proven right, we don't get patted on the back. It's like, how horrible, you know. It's just incredible. And, you know, earlier when you were talking about all of this happening and everything, I literally started to have tears come out of my eyes. Not even a sobbing way, an involuntary, because that's your brain giving you endorphins so it's not too painful. I mean, that's literally what it is, because I realize, my God, America, the only place we've got to live, is now an example of evil worldwide, and we're going to go through this. I mean, it's the realization that we're going to have to go into the first few circles of this hell. And then a lot of people we've warned are going to get activated after it's really naked and after they really experience the fruits of tyranny. But we had it so well here that people don't recognize it as the oxygen's being sucked out of the room. And just myself having the deep realization. I mean, it's almost like levels of realization. I know how real this is, but then more and more every day it hits me, it's really real. And you can... especially if you've read all the histories of this country, but others, but the founders, how they kept having debates, and it kept getting more and more real, and the abuse got more and more real, and they went and begged, please stop doing this, and the system said, no, we're going to do more, and then it just leads to it. And I guarantee it's going to be the same way. There are probably over 100 million gun owners in this country, and if they say it's more like 150 million, if 1% actually fights back, that's 1.5 million people. And, I mean, there's no way to beat that if it's done in an asymmetrical way. And I'm certainly not dreaming of it going there. It's just that I don't think the minions of this system realize that all their high-tech spy gear and all their black uniforms are not going to protect them from an enraged population. But again, I don't want them to be chewed up. I want them to recognize they're working for total criminals. I mean, my God, look at the mega banks that run everything, all the crimes they commit. It's a bunch of Bernie Madoffs. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, that's the silver lining for us, is that the more ridiculous they get, the more the legitimacy is torn away from them, and rightfully so. And the more they're revealed for what they are, which is fraudulent, unconstitutional, unprincipled, you know, and totally the opposite of the Founding Fathers. And that's the whole point. If we can wake up enough police and military to that reality, then we will win, because they will not have the tools to do it. And so that's, you know, that's what we have to work on. We can't sit on our butts, though, and rely on that. We got to get ready ourselves. Like you said, you know, to be blunt, we need to prepare for the very worst. And what that will mean is asymmetrical warfare, like our Founding Fathers in the Southern Campaign had to fight. You know, Francis Marion and the Swamp Fox, the Over Mountain Men who defeated the Loyalists at Kings Mountain. All of that is an example of what will have to be done. And this country will be like Afghanistan. Not saying I'm trying to compare Americans to the Taliban or anything like that, but the point is you will see a resistance like that. You will see that kind of a hardcore resistance in the United States. But it is my hope and prayer that we can avoid doing that by having enough of the military and police simply side with what's right. Side with the Constitution, side with the Bill of Rights, side with the Declaration of Independence, and do what's right. If
I hear you.
That, we win.
Let me just ask you this final question. I don't know if you've seen Road to Tyranny, but I'm going to do a piece next week or something with it, because it's a 10-year-old film, came out right after 9/11, and it's footage that I was sent by police and defendants and others. But I have FEMA in Kansas City saying George Washington, Thomas Jefferson are terrorists, America's bad, all this. I mean, and you think you're watching a Monty Python movie. It's not a joke, though. You know, like an absurdist police state where they say breathing is evil, you know, and the police are there agreeing with it. And then I have sent to me months later, that was in Kansas City, from Virginia, Abby Newman, pulled over at a checkpoint. They want to search her. She says no. They grab her out. She doesn't resist. They charge her. And then they find a Harrison Ford video she'd rented, and it was Patriot games. The word Patriot freaks them out, and they don't even know what Harrison Ford is. I mean, it's like a joke. Like, it'd be funny if it wasn't. Like, you're watching this from their squad car as they dig through her trunk 10 feet away with mics on. And the guy and the supervisor's talking to him, and they go, she's got a pocket constitution. And they're going, oh my gosh, this is horrible. I can't believe she's got this. And they're like, is this legal? And they're going, oh, I can't believe, and they're acting, I mean, for me, that'd be like somebody who'd been in a North Korean brainwashing camp for 20 years. who'd been tortured every time they were shown a Constitution. I mean, how did they find, these are like rednecks, how did they find men who are, I mean, I don't even believe this is real is what I'm saying. It's so alien that obviously they've sworn an oath to this. This is what America's based on. This is why we're supposedly special. And they're arrest some woman and a veteran, no criminal record at a checkpoint because she has a Constitution. I mean, and they have to have a debate about, is it allowed? I mean, for people that haven't seen the video, it's online, it's free everywhere. People get the DVD from us, it doesn't matter. The point is that these guys are under mind control. How do they get them to this point?
Well, public school. I mean, look at the Occupy people. Look at the ignorance displayed there. Look at like Adam Kokesh went out and interviewed some of those people and asked them basic questions. You know, look at the stuff that Jay Leno does when he goes and talks to people on the street. They don't know who we fought in World War II. They don't know why we fought in World War II. They don't know, they're just ignorant of our history. And this is the product of public schools. And so, yes, you have ignorant people both in colleges. You have ignorant people in the Tea Party who support what McCain's doing right now. They support what Bush did when he was gutting the Constitution and wiping his rear with it, and you have cops who are ignorant also. It's a product of public schooling. That's why we have an ignorant population.
Yeah, they don't know what the document is. They don't know it's what they swore to, and so they've been taught by the ADL Southern Poverty Law Center. We got that it's bad. They tell them, Constitution, cop killer, cop killer. That's what they tell them in the drills. Right. People that talk about the Constitution want to murder you. So they're like, oh, we found it. I mean, it's still, they're that dumb.
Well, that ignorant. I wouldn't say they're dumb. But
they're ignorant. You're right. They're just purely ignorant.
Lacking in knowledge. Right. And so this is why the truth is the answer. You know, it's an antidote. One drop of truth is an antidote to a whole bucket of nonsense. And so we have to keep spreading the truth. But the question is will we have time to reach them all, or will we run out of time? Last thing I want to do is have to fight against people who think they're doing the right thing but are doing exactly the wrong thing. And that would be really just a horrible future for us.
Well, they're not just tasering and beating innocent people, though. It'll get them to start thinking a little bit. But you know, Stewart, looking at this, as you said, humans just repeat the same thing over and over again. And now it's happening here. I mean, it just goes to show that if a bunch of wild frontiers people that were in constant wars were being bullied around by the redcoats, what's going to happen to a bunch of fat, dumb, and happy people who think everything's fine? Of course crooks took over. Of course they're going to try to set up the worst tyranny possible. They've committed a lot of crimes. They've got to secure those crimes. If there's a peaceful revolution, they're all going to go to prison. That's why they want violence. That's why I think we should try to avert it at all cost.
Well, until the point is reached where you reach the Solzhenitsyn point, where you should have resisted and you should have fought back because you're going to wind up in a camp. And so I wouldn't say, you know, avoid it at all costs. I'd say it's the last option. Well, no, I'm saying at all costs up until defense. Sure, they're driving around in black trucks, grabbing the Patriots. I mean, you know, obviously there's no... And here's the point I want to make to John McCain and the rest of them. It's a two-way street. What you're doing is sticking your arm down a badger hole, because when you strip away the protections of the Bill of Rights from the American people, like you said earlier, Alex, there's a 30% of the population who is awake and aware, and they're not going to wait for you to just come get them in the middle of the night. They're going to consider you, John McCain, and Senator Levin, the rest of you, they're going to consider you to be what you consider them, a military enemy. And so if you open that door and leave them no protection, no security, no knowing that they have a chance to face their accusers in a trial before a jury of their peers, if you strip that away, what you're really stripping away is a last reason they have to hold back. You've given them no recourse. And that's what I worry about, is that more, you know, when they reach that point, it's going to open that door and we will be shoved through and have no choice.
Well, the reason you're right is I've had to think about this. And at the moment they're going around like the NKVD grabbing families and stuff. I mean, you don't have a choice. And then you don't just wait and deal with the stupid steroid thugs that come. You know, it's the criminals giving the orders that have to be brought to justice.
Well, that's what rule will be. I mean, King George was across the seas. The current crop of would-be tyrants is in Washington, D.C. They're on our own soil, and so in that sense, it'll be a little bit different. I don't want to say much more than that, but the point is that they're opening a door that it goes both ways. If they're going to treat the American people like an occupied, conquered civilian population like Iraq or Afghanistan, then the American people will treat them like occupiers. They will treat them like military foreign occupiers. They will be treated the same.
Well, that is what's happening. I mean, they are saying we're occupied by Northcom, we're the enemy, and as Lindsey Graham said, yes, U.S. citizens are targeted, and America's a battleground. And he's this little, I don't even want to say effeminate, because women aren't weak like that, this little Nelly, pasty creature. But then McCain is actually a veteran and has been under the Viet Cong tyranny. I mean, to watch him, he really is a piece of trash.
He is. Whatever, I mean, he's long ago abdicated in he doesn't deserve any respect at all whatsoever for anything he did in service, because he's betrayed his oath. I consider him a traitor, and like I said, I don't use that term lightly. He should be tried for treason and then suffer the sentence.
Well, it is treason to overthrow habeas corpus, everything. I mean, this is the hallmark of a tyranny. Last question. This is the last, because we're at 45 minutes right now, and I know you're busy, and we've got some financial news coming up as well. Talking to the members and the folks that are involved with Oath Keepers, the police, the military that you talk to, what is their sense of what's going on?
Most of them that I talk to are concerned that we are in the last breath before the plunge. Quite a few of them are concerned that that's where we are. We're on the edge of the chasm, and they're very concerned that we're going to cross and have no recourse but to do the same as our founding fathers, and they don't want to do it. They don't want it. But that's what they feel. I talk to them across the country, and they're just. I mean, look at this. I mean, this is, you know, some part of Lawson are trying to say we're all conspiracy theorists. This is. I encourage everybody to go read my paper and then go look at what's happened since. I wrote that in 2004. I predicted what's happening now. It's legal. It's right there in your face in Supreme Court cases. It's right there in bills in front of Congress. You know, the president is doing it. He's executing American citizens with his own secret list. It's happening. And you are in exactly the same place that the founders were in 1775. That is where we are. And people understand that.